My name is Maria Turner. I have a brother who's 5 years older than me. He was always kind and someone I could rely on. When I was getting married, he said, "Who is this guy? I'll check him out for you. If he makes my sister cry, he won't get away with it." However, my dependable brother fell ill, and despite treatment, he couldn't be cured, and eventually passed away. Watching my brother turn to smoke and rise up, I felt like my heart was being crushed. Standing next to me was my husband, John. What he saw was very different from what I saw. "Anna, your brother's wife, she's only 25, right?" "That's really sad." "Yes," John replied, looking at Anna, who was 3 years younger than us. She was young, beautiful, and adorable, my brother's pride and joy. Looking at my husband's face, I saw no sadness. He was utterly fixated on Anna. "What's gonna happen to her now?" I replied, but to be honest, I wasn't thinking about Anna at all. All I could see was my brother turning to smoke, and the days I spent with my husband. John and I got married 2 years ago. We met at work, and gradually, his persistent pursuit won me over. However, I never thought about marriage. I don't know why. Despite his relentless pursuit, I ended up agreeing to go out for meals and watch movies with him. And before I knew it, he had made his way into my heart. When we went to my parents' house to announce our marriage, Anna was there, of course. John looked dazed at her. But when I asked him what was wrong, he said, "Oh, I just didn't expect you to have a sister." "She's not my sister. That's Anna, my brother's wife." "Oh right, your brother's wife." A year passed, our wedding ceremony ended, and we started our life as a married couple. But our married life wasn't as I had expected. John was mostly busy with work, often coming home late. I used to discuss various issues with my brother. Whenever I felt anxious or had problems, I would turn to him. But as a child, my brother never brought his problems to me. So I talked to him about John. "It's good for a man to focus on his work. It means he has no worries about his family," he would say, easing my vague feelings of anxiety and dissatisfaction. At the same time, it seemed my brother was starting to have his own troubles. As it involved his marriage, he confided in me, "I feel like Anna has been cold to me recently." Is that normal? My brother had been married for 2 years, yet when he came home, there was often no dinner made, and the house was barely cleaned. Barely cleaned. It's hard to imagine such neglect after only 2 years of marriage. Something must have changed her, but my brother loved Anna so much he was desperate to bring things back to how they used to be. This struggle continued until his illness began. "I'll take care of him properly," Anna had said. She seemed devoted in her care. But whenever I visited the hospital, she was never there. I couldn't help but feel something odd about it. On the other hand, my husband John was kind. "Sorry, I've been all about work lately," he would say while embracing me. He always bought me whatever I craved on his way home from work. If I wanted a massage, he would do it without a frown. He fulfilled all my wishes. Yet he never seemed to have a day off. "I want to go for a drive this weekend and eat something delicious at our destination," I said. "Sorry, I gotta work on the weekend." "What about next week?" "I've got a business trip." "And the week after?" "There's a golf meeting with clients." It sounded ridiculous, but that's what he said. "Well, can't be helped then. Work hard, okay?" I'd respond, feeling disappointed. He'd just hug me gently and tell me to go out with my friends. I started to wonder if he was really working all the time. Could he be cheating? They say some people become overly kind when they're unfaithful. So is he cheating? I thought, but I found no proof. I considered checking his phone, but it was always locked. Moreover, around that time, John seemed to be in frequent contact with Anna. "You've been talking to Anna a lot recently, haven't you?" I asked. "Yeah, with your brother being sick and all, she's got a lot of worries," he replied. "She could talk to me, her sister-in-law." "That's not possible. You can't just discuss your inner thoughts with your in-laws, can you?" I questioned, "Why not? It's not something you can easily talk about within a marriage, right?" "So, are you talking bad about my brother then?" I asked. "Well, words can be interpreted in many ways. She might say something not meant to be hurtful, but it could be taken the wrong way. That's why she can't talk about it. I can't easily discuss things about you with my in-laws either." "Does that mean there's something wrong with me?" I asked. "No, it's not like that. It's just that even little things can lead to misunderstandings, so I can't talk about it. Is that so? I asked. That's why I'm the one she talks to. There's nothing to be jealous of, so relax. But I couldn't help but wonder. No matter what I said, he always had a way of smoothing things over, making it seem like I was just overthinking. And now the reality is that John only has eyes for Anna. I can no longer bring myself to trust him, knowing that I'm not in his heart. But even if I voiced this, he'd probably just laugh it off. Maria. It felt like someone called me from afar. Hey, Maria? I was jolted back to reality when someone grabbed my shoulder. What? I was just saying it's a shame about Anna, your brother's wife. Ah, yes. But that thing we know about her would make her even more pitiable, wouldn't it? What thing? I smiled and walked away from him. After the funeral, as the guests left, and the family gathered around John, he looked confused and turned to me for help. But I just smiled and said, "Oh dear everyone, thank you for your efforts. It's no use crowding around John here. Please come to my house for now," my mother said, dispersing the relatives. At the same time, she called out to us, "John, Maria, please come to our house as well." John, puzzled by my mother's commanding tone, muttered, "So it's about discussing the future now that my brother-in-law has passed." I wore a mocking smile but said nothing as we headed to my parents' house. When we arrived, the relatives had gathered, all sitting down. Anna tried to retire to her room, claiming she was tired, but of course, that wasn't allowed. Anna, you're still a daughter-in-law of this family. Even if your husband has passed away, you have duties as a wife. Everyone's gathered here for your husband's sake, so you must greet them properly, my mother insisted. Anna looked displeased but couldn't refuse when my mother had spoken. Trying to lend a hand to Anna, John said, "Mom, Anna is grieving since she lost her husband. Why don't we let her rest today?" But my mother glared at him and snapped, "Don't meddle in a daughter-in-law's duties." John was silenced by her sharp tone, but then he turned his frustration towards me and said, "Anna is serving tea, Maria. Why don't you help her? Sitting around isn't right." I glared back at him and replied, "That's her duty as a daughter-in-law. You stay out of it." He had no choice but to be quiet again after my firm response. I got up to help Anna, but again my mother's stern voice echoed. And eventually, John had to sit down like the other relatives. "What's going on today? Your mom's acting strange, isn't she?" I glanced at John, but said nothing. It was something he would understand soon enough. When everyone had been served tea and Anna sat down, my mother began to speak. "Thank you all for coming today. By the way, John, I need you to divorce Maria." John was stunned by my mother's abrupt words and looked at me. I, however, didn't change my expression. "What do you mean?" "Exactly what I said. Why do we have to divorce? You should know best." "No, I don't understand why you're saying this. My brother-in-law just passed away, and maybe you're upset, but that means I have to work harder now. Us getting a divorce is out of the question, right?" John looked at me for agreement, but I didn't intend to respond. "Why do you have to work harder because he passed away?" "Well, as the next in line after the eldest son passed away, it's natural for me to step up. Besides, I have no reason to divorce Maria. We're getting along fine. As much as you are her mother, I don't think it's right for you to interfere in our marriage." My mother just stared at him, unfazed by his words. In fact, it was John who seemed perturbed. "Maria, say something. We're not in a relationship that warrants divorce, right? You should ask yourself that." He seemed deep in thought, then said, "I don't get it. We've been doing well. Saying something like this all of a sudden is just unreasonable. Saying we should divorce because my brother-in-law passed away, if that's the reason, it's just ridiculous. If that's the case, what exactly is your relationship with Anna?" "What do you mean? Aren't you two in a romantic relationship?" "Ah," he laughed dryly. I sighed and shook my head. "What are you saying? That's a misunderstanding. Me and my sister-in-law, in a romantic relationship? That's a terrible misunderstanding. Is that so?" "I don't think it's a misunderstanding. Why would you say that? It's impossible. I would never get involved with my brother-in-law's wife." "That's just awful, Mom," John protested, his words sounding insincere. "I don't know why you'd think such a thing, but that's unfair to Anna. It's because of Anna's suspicious behavior that we're having this conversation." "Anna's behavior?" My son seemed troubled before his passing. He said Anna had become cold. He didn't tell me, but he talked to Maria about it. After he fell ill, Anna said she would take care of him, so I left it to her. But whenever Maria visited, Anna was never there. She'd leave right after visiting hours ended, not coming back until the next day. She'd come only to bring clothes, then leave right away. That's not true. She was taking good care of him. Taking good care of him. I talked to the nurses and even confirmed with my son. We put him in a private room so Anna could take care of him, but it was all for nothing. That's because yet she always dressed up, wore unsuitable clothes for caregiving, and had her makeup done. It seemed more like the hospital was a side trip for her, perhaps for another purpose. In other words, an affair. An affair? That's not true, John denied. Who else could the other person be if not you, John? Why me? Just because Anna might be having an affair doesn't mean I'm involved. That's a terrible misunderstanding. I don't think it's a misunderstanding. Why do you think I'm Anna's affair partner? I was just counseling her because my brother-in-law was sick and she was struggling. I was just encouraging her. Right, Maria? There's no way I'm having an affair with Anna. I told you everything, including the messages from Anna. That's all it was. If you two really aren't in a romantic relationship, then show us your phone. What? That's an invasion of privacy, John exclaimed, suddenly looking down, managing to utter only that response. We're not asking to see your other conversations, just the ones with Anna, and your photo folder. That's... Anna, please show us your phone too. If you have nothing to hide, you can show us, right? Anna looked up at John, her eyes seemingly asking, what should I do? Seeing their reaction, my mother smirked. Seems like neither of you can show us. No, it's not like that. It's just that there are some sensitive conversations and photos that aren't appropriate to show others, John stammered. That might be true for strangers, but we're family. There shouldn't be anything you can't show us unless you're hiding something, my mother countered. But that's... if you still can't show us, then it's as good as admitting to an affair, right? Looks like a divorce is the only option. That's going too far. Enough, just get a divorce. We don't want someone who cheats as part of our family, my mother said and went into her room. Feeling uncomfortable, John, without even looking at Anna, pulled me, and we headed back to our house. But once home, John confronted me. What's gotten into your mom? Why did she suddenly say we should get a divorce? I don't know, maybe she had her reasons. What reasons? That I'm having an affair? Do you want to divorce me? Now what do you think? My mom says that, so isn't that the best option? Marriage isn't about your mother, is it? It's about us. Yet why is she suggesting we break up? We were doing just fine. Now that my older brother has passed away, I have to take over the family business, and if I divorce you, I won't be able to do that. Yes, the reason my husband refuses to divorce me lies there. In fact, my family owns a company. When my father was alive, he was the president, and my mother was the vice president. So after my father passed away, my mother became the president, and my brother became the vice president. Now that my brother has passed away, my husband automatically assumes he's next in line for the vice president position. But if he divorces me, that position will be out of reach. That's why he must stop the divorce at all costs. For his own future. That's what he's thinking. If I'm not here, who's gonna take over that company? If I'm not here, the company will go under. So, even for the sake of the company, divorce should be prevented. Hey, if you're not cheating, you don't need to be so desperate, do you? Oh, are you cheating or not? Eventually it'll become clear, won't it? You're right. Why am I getting worked up when there's absolutely no way I'd cheat on Anna? Is that so? As long as you believe in me, there's no need to worry. Well, I don't believe in you at all. Huh? What do you mean? Why would you say that? If you believe in me, that's why you said those words earlier, right? If I'm not cheating, there's no need to be anxious. Well, even if you're not cheating, I still don't believe in you. I mean, it's weird, isn't it? You're always coming home late from work, working on weekends, playing golf, entertains. You're working so much, yet you don't seem tired at all. In fact, you seem more energized. Sure, you've been kind to me, but I have so many doubts. That's just work. It can't be helped, right? Yeah, I guess so. I would understand if it were really just work, but it doesn't seem that way. You're being influenced by your mother? Well, what do you think? Anyone would have doubts after seeing this. I said this, then took out my smartphone and showed him the photos and text messages between the two of them. Why do you have these? I got them from your phone. How? My phone had a lock on it? I saw you unlock it, so I memorized the code. It was easy to record a video on my phone while you were asleep. This is an invasion of privacy. If you weren't cheating, you wouldn't say that, right? So does that mean you're guilty? Well, just take a look, okay? You can see your conversations with her. Fine, I will. Oh, that's right. I'm having an affair with her. Is that what you wanted to hear? But, I'm not the only one at fault here. If a man cheats, it's also the wife's problem. Cheating in the first year of our marriage, and you're blaming me too? Yeah, that's right. It's your fault for not noticing that I was cheating. If you had realized and blamed me, I would have ended it. The fact that you didn't notice means you don't love me. What a selfish argument. Well, it doesn't really matter to me. Such excuses won't fly anyway. No, it's important. I love you, It's just that I made a mistake. It's all because Anna came on to me. Now you're blaming it on Anna? That woman is a femme fatale. So, you're saying it's not your fault because she came on to you, not the other way around? And that's why you think we don't need to divorce? Yes, exactly. I love you after all. I see. I responded, placing a conduct investigation report in front of him. What's this? It's your conduct investigation report. Why do you have something like this? Because I had you investigated. Why would you do that? You were next in line to be the vice president after my brother fell ill. Conducting an investigation is only natural, isn't it? Oh, this report which I got from Mom shows that contrary to your claim that Anna came on to you, it seems you were the one who aggressively pursued her. How could you know that? An investigation report should only show current behavior. As I said earlier, you were a candidate for vice president. That means you were thoroughly investigated. For that reason, as soon as we learned you and Anna were having an affair, hidden microphones were installed all around our family home, in Anna's bag, and even in the coat she always wears. The conclusion was clear: you initiated the affair. It came from your own mouth, so it must be true, right? Everyone in the family knows about this, including Mom. You were considered the future vice president after all. So that's why your mother said what she did. Exactly. But I'll just have to break up with her. What? But if I break up with her, that should solve everything, right? There shouldn't be a problem then? I don't know about the company, but I have no lingering feelings for a man who cheats right after getting married. Why? I'm not going to divorce. I have no intention of leaving you. I want a divorce. John, fearing that divorcing me would cost him his chance at the vice presidency, was adamant about not divorcing. A few days later, Anna left our home. After her affair was discovered, my mother didn't want her using our family name, so a posthumous divorce was arranged. The next day, John was called to the president's office. Anna's left the house. Why? Because she had an affair with her brother-in-law while still married. We don't want her using our family name, so we arranged for a posthumous divorce. Posthumous divorce? Now, it's just you, John. What's your decision? It's about your divorce from Maria. She wants to divorce you. Have you made up your mind? I'll break up with Anna, but I don't want to divorce Maria. I admit cheating was wrong, but I still love my wife. So, you have no intention of getting a divorce? Yes, that's correct. My mother was staring intently at John, who defiantly stared back at her. I understand, my mother finally said and told John he could leave. Believing he had secured a victory, John left the president's office with a big smile on his face. However, when he returned home, he found that I wasn't there. Panicked, he contacted me. Maria, where are you? I'm at my parents' house. Why are you at your parents' house? I was shocked to come home and not find you there. You're home quite early today. Usually you come back late at night or early in the morning. I've broken up with Anna, so now I'm only your husband. Come back home. I can come pick you up if you want. There's no need for that. A lawyer will be coming to you soon. I told him and hung up the phone. Shocked, John shouted, why a lawyer? but received no answer. True to my word, a few days later, a lawyer arrived at John's place. "I'm not getting a divorce," John declared when presented with the divorce papers. "So you're saying you absolutely refuse to get a divorce?" Of course, a one-time affair is something any couple could experience. I can't just get divorced over that. Your wife is deeply hurt by the affair. Still, we can start over, right? I don't think that's gonna work. Why not? I've broken up with her. There shouldn't be any more complaints. It's not as simple as that. Still, I'm not getting a divorce. In that case, we'll have to go to court. Court? Yes, a court case. It will be expensive, and you'll likely face a substantial alimony claim. Fighting against us? You'll find it hard to find a lawyer willing to take your case. Why is that? We represent a major corporation with numerous top-notch lawyers. It's pretty clear that you'll lose the case. So no one will want to represent you, except maybe some low-tier lawyer with no work. And then you'll be facing a high alimony claim. How much are we talking about? Given the status of the lady of the house, you're looking at around $200,000 in alimony. But if you agree to the divorce now, we can keep it around $100,000 and not report it to the president. $200,000 and $100,000. Yes, but I'm going to be the vice president? As it stands, it is unlikely for you to become the vice president. The board of directors and the president know about your affair. Do you think they would make someone like you the vice president? There's a 0% chance. Is that so? What will you do? I have decided to accept the divorce, but I have a condition. Oh? You are not really in a position to set conditions, but let's hear it. I don't want to be fired, okay? Ah, you're afraid of losing your job, I see. Of course, even if I don't become vice president, I don't want to leave the company. Understood. I will convey this to the president. So, a month later, the divorce was finalized. John received a notice of transfer. However, he protested this decision to my mother. "This is too harsh. Do you have a problem with it? You haven't been fired, have you? It's practically like being fired. Your salary is still paid by our company, meaning you're still an employee. Plus, you said you broke up with Anna, but you're still in touch with her. After such dishonest behavior, don't act so high and mighty. I could have had you fired and blacklisted from employment elsewhere. I have that much influence, you know." Understood? Then follow the notice. Realizing that complaining further might lead to being unemployable anywhere, John reluctantly left the president's office. A week later, he was transferred to a subsidiary company. Now that they were divorced, he was free to start anew. He had a job, even if it was a transfer. He might get back together with Anna. I thought so. However, once Anna learned of John's situation and realized he had no money left, she lost interest and left him for good. Apparently in search of another wealthy partner. Unable to afford proper meals, he became increasingly gaunt. At the subsidiary, he was rumored to be the fool who was ousted from the family business due to his affair, and he began to suffer mentally, leading to frequent unauthorized absences. Eventually, he was fired, the very outcome he had feared the most. Later, when I no longer heard any news about John, I decided to have him investigated. The investigation revealed that he was not working anymore and spent his days aimlessly inside his room. It seemed unlikely that he would ever find love or employment again. Betraying his wife and engaging in an affair in the first year of marriage led to such a downfall. As for me, I returned to my family home and lived a peaceful life. Gone were the days of feeling anxious about the actions of a loved one. This calm and stable life made me feel genuinely happy, a stark contrast to my past.